Welcome back to Jeannie's Table. We're happy to have you come back. After last week, today is our next cooking outside because it's summer videos. Today we're making barbecue ribs. Here we got our ribs, here we got all of our seasonings. I took some noise last time because I had all of these kind of seasonings up on the table and I didn't tell you what I put in mine. Well, if we start here on this side, this paper plate is showing you the combination of the most common used spices for barbecue ribs. We got your garlic, we got your paprika, we got onion, we got cayenne, we got cumin. All the time everybody uses salt. I don't like using too much salt. I use celery salt and black pepper and yes, brown sugar. Here's the combination. You put it in a mix and you're ready to go. If you don't want to do the work of all of that, you can go and buy a premix. Here I've got some Grill Masters. Here I've got some Mrs. Dash. Here's another different Grill Masters. You know my favorite is Weber's. I've told you how much I like Famous Dave's. Here's one of his mixes. Some other popular ingredients that are a little different are adobo seasoning. Believe it or not, people use Old Bay. And here is a really cool season, Res El Haout. It's called the Hat of Spices. It's everything good in a mix. You could use this too. Something I like to do, go to your stores like Target or Costco or even at the Jewels and get yourself a shaker. This costs between $3 and $5. You don't have to mix stuff up and you don't have to get your, sprinkles. It's a shaker. Put it in there, shake it up. That's what we're going to use today. Today we're cooking baby back ribs. That's the leanest, lightest cut of back ribs. Next up from this would be the St. Louis cut, which is a heartier bone with more meat. After that, the biggest is the spare rib. The spare rib, in my opinion, is a lot of fun. It's got a big sheen bone that you got to hack off. You need a big knife for that one. And it's got two nice big flaps of unboned meat. We trim that out and use it for pulled pork sandwiches. Gotta love pulled pork sandwiches, right? Anyway, today we're going with baby back ribs. Okay, here we have our ribs. Now this may seem funny, but we want to dry them off before we put ingredients on. Well, before we put wet ingredients on anyway. We're just going to dry these off as best we can with this napkin or paper towel. We were gifted with a rack of ribs that already had the membrane peeled off the back. That was nice of them to do that for us. I was even unaware. We would have wanted to peel off this membrane because no matter what happens, nothing's getting through that membrane and it makes the bottom of the ribs real tough to eat. Here's our pack of ribs. Now, once again, we're going to go with some glue. I could have just used straight yellow mustard like I did last time, but I just watched a rib video of a guy who used some real cool mustard and I didn't want to be left out. All this is here is a nice Dijon mustard with some whole grain mustard added. I used two of them because I'm almost embarrassed I didn't have enough of either one to use, so I mixed them up. You know what? As I've talked before, this is where you can get your kids involved because they sure as sure can't mess this up. How tough is what I'm doing? You're watching me. This doesn't take no big genius. I just get the mustard all over everywhere. Like I said, this is our glue. Whenever we put a rub on or some kind of seasoning, we want it to stick to something. And that's what this is going to do for us. I am one of the disbelievers that doesn't put anything on the back side. The way we're going to cook this, back side's going to get all its flavor anyway. And there's nothing back there to eat. There. Now our ribs are nicely glued. Hello, Mr. Wind. Here, we'll solve that problem. Our ribs are nicely glued. And what I've got is my shaker full of seasoning. This combination that I explained to you is what we're going with. I'll repeat it again. We got garlic, paprika, onion, celery salt, cayenne, some chili season, some chipotle, and some brown sugar, and that's always good. Get away, fly, we're not paying you. Like I said, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to shake it on here real nice. Get a good coating. We might be here for a little bit doing the shaking, and that's okay. We are not going to rub this in. I'm going to press it on here as soon as I got enough on here that I believe. Okay, there we go. Let's get a little bit over here. Get everybody included. Sure, I'll put some more on. Now, I'm going to press this on. I'm not rubbing, I'm just pressing. See, I still got more on my hands than I want to have on my hands. That's okay, because we still got more in the shaker. Whoops, we don't want to eat that. High fiber, but maybe roughage too. That's what we got. Now, we're going to do a highly technical wrap job. Pull this side up. Pull this side up. Get them nice. Roll them over. Roll them over. Roll it on down. Roll it on down. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Fold over once. Fold over twice. Now, I'm leaving this side open for right now because we're going to make and put a braising liquid in here. Our braising liquid is going to be, once again, this morning's coffee, a little of my leftover beer, because it is a heat index of about 214 degrees out here. We're putting in some apple cider vinegar, highly well mixed. Putting in one of my favorites, good old Worcester sauce. Gets us some savoriness, because we got a bunch of sweet going on already. And we're going with some of my good buddy liquid smoke here, because we're using a gas grill. So why not get a little help? Give that a mixy mix. Now here's a trick I learned from a wonderful southern woman in New Orleans. I take a big bunch of melted butter. And it's a little more than half a stick there, which is absolutely more than I needed, but I like doing it. And I mix that into our mix. It's not going to mix up all the way, not a chance. But it's good enough for government work. You've heard me say that before. And now, I'm going to prop this up here, because I want all the juice going in. Oops, we don't want to have spillage. I'm just going to spoon this butter in as it is. You know why? Because when it's on the heat, it's going to melt up anyway. In you go. In you go. In you go. Now, I'm going to pour in my braising liquid. And there we go. And I make sure it gets all the way down to the other end. I'm not concerned with the butter because it is going to melt. I wrap this end up, wipe my hands, and now we go to the grill. Okay, I have pulled these ribs off the grill. I put them over the bowl, and I got a little break right here in the foil. That's exactly what I wanted. All the juice, oh, that's warm. All the juice has relieved itself of the rib package, and it's in this nice bowl. I am going to take these ribs back to the grill and just let them sit on residual heat until I reduce that liquid. Reducing means I'm going to put it in a saucepan or a skillet, and I'm going to cook it up and stir it and stir it and stir it until it has thickened up to where I like. I'm going to put these ribs back on the grill now, and I'll come back with the sauce. Now, I've pulled the ribs off the grill. They've just been sitting there in residual heat, drying up a little bit. I pulled them out of the aluminum, and I put them on their own little tray. I have reduced all of the juice that came from these ribs. You can see how much heavier it is now. I added a little bit of honey, and I wanted to add some dark molasses, but it seems like I was out of it. I saw something I had that I saw a big name guy. He put in some maple syrup, so that's what I did. I'm gonna paint these ribs with this barbecue sauce now. This is not something you want a kid to do because this is hot. Mustard is not hot. When you're reducing a sauce, it's important to pay attention. It's not like reducing a stock, because a stock is just going to get more intense. Reducing this sauce, it's getting thicker. So once it gets to a point, it's either going to get to the end or it's going to burn. And burning something with this much sugar in it is not something you can ever fix. Now I've painted all this sauce on these ribs. They're going to go back on the grill for, let's say, 10 minutes. They're going to get caramelized, and then we're going to eat them. Here they are, our finished ribs. All nice and caramely, all nice and sauced up, ready to go. Most guys would cut these ribs from the other side. I'm going to cut them from here just because I don't want to flip them. You got to pick in between the bone. There we go. In between, in between. Come on, fingers. Not helping me, Mr. Rib. And these are going home with my producer, director, cameraman's mother. Got to keep the crowd happy, right? There you go. Barbecue ribs in the summer. Remember, everyone eats, anyone, you can cook. Please come back the next time we make a video.